If that is your wish, if I must, will this ever end? If that is your wish, I go. If that is your wish, I go. If I must, I go. If I must. If that is your wish, will this ever end? I go. Will this ever end? If I must, will this ever end? You're the one. That is your wish. Go, death. Embrace the end. I go. If I must. Go, death. If that is your wish. If I must. Embrace the end. I go. If that is your wish. Go, death. Will this ever end? If that is your wish, will this ever end? If that is your wish, will this ever end? I go. If I must. Embrace the end. Will this ever end? If I must. You're the lucky one. Will this ever end? If that is your wish. Embrace the end. Will this ever end? If that is your wish. I go. If that is your wish. If I must. Go on, death. Embrace the end. Will this ever end? I go. You're the lucky one. If I must. I go. If I must. I go. If that is your wish. Will this ever end? If I must. Embrace the end. Will this ever end? I go. Will this ever end? If that is your wish. if I must. If that is your wish, I go. Embrace the end. Will this ever end? If that is your wish, you're the lucky one. If I must. If that is your wish, I go. If I must, I go. Death. If that is your wish, I go. If I must. Will this ever end? I go. You're the lucky one. If I must. Go on, death. If that is your wish. If I must. You're the lucky one. Will this ever end? If that is your wish, will this ever end? If I must. Embrace the end. If that is your wish, will this ever end? Go on, death. You're the lucky one. If that is your wish, will this ever end? I go. If that is your wish, I go. Go on, death. If I must. Will this ever end?
Our allies' town needs help.
What is your wish?
I will aid you. If that is your wish, if I must. Will this ever end? Go on, death. If I must. If that is your wish. Embrace the end. If I must. Will this ever end? If that is your wish, will this ever end? I go. Let phantom arrows fly. You're the lucky one. If I must, I go. If that is your wish, will this ever end? I go. If that is your wish, I go. Go on, death. Embrace the end. You're the lucky one. Go on, death. If that is your wish, will this ever end? Will this ever end?
Hello.
Let the living beware. If that is your wish, will this ever end? Let phantom arrows fly. If that is your wish, you're the lucky one. Will this ever end? If I must. Will this ever end? Go on, death. Embrace the end. You're the lucky one. Go on, death. I go. If that is your wish, I go.
Our allies' town.
That is your wish. Will this ever end? If that is your wish, will this ever end? If that is your wish, I go. If I must.
Our
If
allies'
that is
town
your
needs
wish, will this ever end? If that is your wish, will this ever end? If I must, will this ever end?
help. Welcome to our village.
I will aid you. Direct my hatred. I go. Must. Go, death. Let phantom arrows fly. Will this ever end? If that is your wish, I go. If that is your wish, if I must. That is your wish. If I must. That is your wish. Cold death. Embrace the end. I go. You're the one. If that is your wish. Embrace the end. If I must. Cold death. If that is your wish. I go. Will this ever end? If I must. Will this ever end? If I must. I go. If I must. I go. Will this ever end? I go. If I must. If that is your wish, embrace the end. Let phantom arrows fly.
Unstoppable. Double kill.
If I must. If that is your wish, if I must.
I bid you.
Let the living beware. Will this ever end?
Our allies' town needs help.
You're the cold death. I go. If I must. I go. Will this ever end? Go. If I must. Will this ever end? If I must. I go. If I must. You're death.
Monster kill.
You're one. Go. Will this ever end? I go. Cold death.
Our allies' town needs help.
Embrace the end. My bow is ready. Will this ever end? If I must. If that is your wish. If I must. Will this ever end?
Godlike. Holy shit.
Direct my hatred. If that is your wish. Go on, death. Embrace the end. Go. That is your wish.
Triple kill! Ultra kill!
Will this ever end? You're the lucky one. If that is your wish. Go on, death. You're the lucky one. Go on, death. Embrace the end. You're the lucky one. Embrace the end. I go. Phantom strike.
Unstoppable.
That is your wish. Will this ever end? If that is your wish. Embrace the end. Will this ever end? If that is your wish. If I must. I go. If I must.
I wish only to
My
serve.
bow is ready. If that is your wish. If I must.
Wicked sword.
Will this ever end?
Monster kill!
End my torment. If I must. Will this ever end?
More work?
My bow is ready. If that is your wish.